afternoon. You're tuned into the Suncity News Center here on 104.9 FM. It's now time for our midday news and sports update. I'm Jada Francis. Coming up in the news this afternoon on the local scene, over 200 PPV operators ticketed in Portmore for road breaches. Motorists could face $500,000 fine for using bad words. 3 men arrested, firearms seized following robbery in St. Elizabeth, and female constable to appear before Indicom in Donnelly Donaldson case. On the regional scene, OECS tourism ministers to discuss regional travel. On the international scene, Joe Biden tests positive for COVID-19, and Japan extends the detention for Shinzo Abe's alleged assassin. And in sports, world 100-meter champion Curly out of world relays in injury. News and details right after this. Now the news in detail. Approximately 202 public passenger vehicle operators were on Wednesday issued with traffic tickets during an enforcement operation in Portmore, St. Catherine. In addition, license plates were removed from 40 vehicles for breaches of the Road Traffic Act. The operation, which was a collaboration between the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Island Traffic Authority, was conducted along Dawkins Drive in the municipality. The operation saw motor vehicle examiners checking tire pressure and condition and brake systems, among other things. More than 400 vehicles were checked. Head of the operations for St. Catherine South Police Division, Superintendent Hopton Nicholson, is urging operators to obey the law as they have observed vehicles driving with multicolored flashing lights, excessive tints, and broken windscreens. This is expected to be an ongoing operation. Transport operators who use expletives or bad language towards an inspector of the Transport Authority in the lawful conduct of his duties could be slapped with a fine of up to $500,000 or face jail time of up to 6 months. The provision is contained in the Transport Authority Amendment Act 2022, which was passed in Gordon House without amendment on Tuesday afternoon. The legislation states that the use of abusive or calumnious language to an inspector in the carrying out of the inspector's duties would attract a fine or imprisonment. The bill is part of a suite of legislative measures that will give effect to the Road Traffic Act 2018. Discussing the bill at the committee stage, spokesperson on Housing, Transport and Works, Mikhail Phillips, suggested that the fine was excessive, noting that the maximum amount should be adjusted to $300,000. However, Minister of Justice Delroy Truck contended that the fine was intended to be a deterrent. Following a robbery at a bar in Mountainside, St. Elizabeth on Wednesday night, 3 Clarendon men were arrested and a firearm seized. According to St. Elizabeth Police Superintendent Dwight Daly, gunmen held up and robbed customers at the bar sometime around 10 p.m. According to Daly, the gunmen then made their escape in a white Toyota Axio motorcar, after which the police were alerted and quickly responded. He reported that the police intercepted the vehicle, which was transporting 3 men. Upon conducting a search of the car, a 9mm Taurus pistol loaded with 15 cartridges were found. The men were subsequently arrested and the firearm seized. The police also recovered stolen items. And the Independent Commission of Investigations, Indicom, is set to question the female district constable who has been listed as a person of interest in the disappearance of social media personality 24-year-old Donnelly Donaldson. This was confirmed by her attorney, Oswest Senior Smith, who was retained to represent the constable after her status was upgraded to that of a suspect in the case. She is set to appear before Indicom on August 3rd. A notice was served on the district constable on Wednesday for her to appear before Indicom as the agency conducts a special investigation to determine if there are any grounds to suspect that any member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force has contravened the law. Mr. Senior Smith maintained his client's innocence, revealing that both women were acquaintances and enjoyed fairly cordial relations. The attorney also insisted that his client is entitled to the protections that the law offers and urged the police high command not to violate those rights. Donnelly Donaldson went missing on July 13. Two protests have so far been held in Donaldson's honor as family and friends seek answers regarding her disappearance. You're listening to Midday News on Suncity 104.9 FM. The time is now 8 minutes after 12. Now for regional news. Tourism ministers from the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, will meet on Thursday in Dominica. They will discuss a wide range of issues affecting the tourism sector in the sub-region, including air transportation. Dominica's Tourism Minister Denise Charles said they are pleased that after 2 years of COVID, they are privileged to host a major regional meeting, which is the 7th meeting of the OECS Council of Tourism Ministers. Charles, who will take the chairmanship over of the council, said intra-regional travel will be the priority agenda item, noting that since the coronavirus pandemic, regional tourism has dropped by over 65%, and it is a slowly recovering market for them in the Caribbean. Charles said the issue of training will also be discussed during the meeting, recognizing that tourism is a major pillar for most Caribbean islands, and many of them are dependent on tourism for their survival. The OECS groups the islands of Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Anguilla, and the British Virgin Islands. Meanwhile, on the international scene, President Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID-19, underscoring the persistence of the highly contagious virus as new variants challenge the nation's efforts to resume normalcy after 2.5 years of pandemic disruptions. According to White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, Biden was experiencing mild symptoms and has begun taking Paxlovid, an antiviral drug designed to reduce the severity of the disease. She said Biden will isolate at the White House and will continue to carry out all his duties fully during this time. He has been in contact with the members of the White House staff by phone and will participate in his planned meetings at the White House today via phone and Zoom from the residence. Biden, who is 79 years old, is fully vaccinated after getting 2 doses of the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine shortly before taking office, a first booster shot in September, and an additional dose in March 30. Still on the international scene, following the assassination of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, Japan authorities have sought to deny suspected assassinator Tetsuya Yamagami the privilege to roam their streets freely until he is formally charged for the gruesome crime. Karen Crooks gives us more details.
One of Japan's most influential politicians was assassinated on July 8 in the western city of Nara, shocking a nation known for safety and strict gun control. The alleged assassin, Tetsuya Yamagami, 41, was arrested immediately after the shooting and has been held for questioning. He can be detained until July 29, when prosecutors must decide whether to formally press murder charges. Nara Prefectural Police have said Yamagami, who had served in the Japanese Navy in the early 2000s, told investigators that he killed Abe because of rumored links between the former prime minister and a religious group that he hated. Yamagami reportedly was distressed because his mother's massive donation to the Unified Church bankrupted his family. Over the weekend, police obtained a letter they believe Yamagami had mailed to a journalist the day before the attack, describing how his mother's overspending destroyed and bankrupt his family because of her devotion to the church. He said, "The experience distorted my entire life." In the typed one-page letter, the suspect allegedly said Abe was not his essential target, even though he felt bitter towards him. He said that Abe was just one of the sympathizers of the church and that it would be impossible to kill all members of the church's founding family, hinting at his decision to target Abe instead. For the Suncity News Center, I am Kadian Crow.
Now for news in sports, World 100-meter champion Fred Kerley has been ruled out of the U.S. team for the 4x100-meter relay with a slight injury to the quadriceps. This is according to a team official on Wednesday. The announcement came a day after Kerley failed to advance from the semifinals of the 200 meters, complaining at the time of what he said was a cramp in the thigh. The official said that Fred Kerley suffered a slight injury to his quadriceps during the 200-meter semifinal and will no longer be able to run the 4x1 relay in the week. Heats for the men's relay are scheduled for Friday, with the final on Saturday. The U.S. team can still call on the likes of Marvin Bracey and Trayvon Bromell, who completed the 100-meter podium 1-2-3 in the U.S. sweep, as well as they can call on Elijah Hall, Kyrie King, and Josephus Lyles. And now for your weather forecast. There is a high-pressure ridge across Jamaica and a low-level jet stream across the central Caribbean. The ridge briefly builds across the island today. Tomorrow, a tropical wave moves across the island and windy conditions continues, and especially across southern parishes, due to the presence of the low-level jet stream. This afternoon, expect partly cloudy conditions across hilly areas with isolated showers and thunderstorms, mainly across western parishes. It should be windy along the south coast. Kingston is expected to be mostly sunny this afternoon with a maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius. Spanish Town is also expected to be mostly sunny with a maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius. And right here in the sunshine city of Portmore, you can expect a mostly sunny afternoon with a maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius. Now to end this newscast, we take a look at the main stories once more. On the local scene, over 200 PPV operators ticketed in Portmore for road breaches. Motorists could face $500,000 fine for bad words. 3 men arrested, 5 firearms seized following robbery in St. Elizabeth. Female constable to appear before Indicom in Donnelly Donaldson's case. On the regional scene, OECS tourism ministers to discuss regional travel. On the international scene, President Joe Biden tests positive for COVID-19. Japan expends detention for Shinzo Abe's alleged assassin. And in sports, World 100-meter champion Kerley out of World Relays with injuries. And that's it for news and sports from the Suncity News Center at this time. Do join us again at 5 p.m. for more news on this station. Please remember to follow us on our socials on Instagram and Twitter. Look for us Suncity104.9 FM and on Facebook at Suncity Radio104.9 FM. I'm Jetta Francis from the Suncity News Center. Do stay tuned for more right here on this station.